Julian's here now. Very good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm in good spirits.
I say that in its widest sense because I think many people who followed your story will know that you've had quite a tricky path in some respects, and it's a genuine sort of "where are you at the moment" question.
Yeah, I'm in a very good space. I've had an extremely interesting life so far. I've learned many, many lessons, and I'm just trying to get on with life and doing the best I can with all the creative endeavours that I'm working on.
It's been a while since we've heard an album from you.
It's been a few years, yeah, about 13 years,
13.
Something like that.
Yeah. Did you just decide to leave music for a while? I know you were concentrating on photography for a bit, but why so long?
Well, I worked very hard on promo for a year for the last album, and the business of music wore me down. It does time and time again, and I just felt like following through on some of the other projects that I wanted to do. I worked on a documentary for 10 years, got involved with photography, and did my first few exhibitions last year, and still working on that. So there's a few things out there that I love to do, and I'm putting a charitable foundation together as well called the White Feather Foundation.
Now, I was just looking through the album. I mean, the songs are beautiful. I mean, they're very
Thank
beautiful, and that's the snippet we heard there. I was just looking through the sleeve notes and reading some of the lyrics.
Yes.
A sample, if I may, for the audience.
Go on.
Tired of this world, all the good we do never seems to get through.
Yep.
That's Everything Changes. Why do you always look the other way when I'm trying to see your soul? Here we go again, the lonely road. What do I feel but emptiness inside? That's track 3.
Positive stuff, isn't it?
There's quite a lot going on. There's quite a melancholy theme to this stuff.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the album was written over the course of anywhere between 8 and 5 years, on and off, and as we said, I've been through the mill a few times really, and I went through a pretty dark period a few years back, and so it was about rediscovering life, rediscovering and understanding the ebbs and flows of life, is that it's not going to remain the same all the time. This is why Everything Changes came about, because it was about seeing that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully you learn through those issues and bad things that happen to you, and hopefully it's a brighter at the end.
Yeah. What took you into the dark place then?
Actually, smoking. I used to be a very, very serious smoker. Cigarette was my best friend. I thought I was going to be one of the last people on earth saying, "Come on, try and take this away from me." And I'd been smoking since I was a teenager, and I quit cold turkey, and it was really, really difficult. And I think more than the actual physical addiction, it was more the chemical addiction that really affected my system. And it was a difficult thing to go through, and I went through all kinds of bizarre emotions and changes during that, and it was a 3-year period. But yeah, it was that long. I wouldn't say it was deep dark depression, but it was certainly down there, and I'd never dealt with that before, and it was coming out of that and writing about it and looking at life from every angle, really.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about yesterday there was the film premiere, the George Harrison film, the Scorsese film.
Yeah.
And obviously there were many. I mean, the remaining Beatles, Paul McCartney, we can see here, Ringo Starr was there, Yoko Ono was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Now for us, I mean, there's a fascination with what happened then.
Sure.
For everyone who's outside of it.
Sure.
I mean, I wonder where you were so intrinsically linked through your father to what was happening then, and these people personally.
Yeah.
And when you see them, those individuals, you presumably have different feelings about different members who are linked.
Well, they're very much, they feel like my extended family. Paul and Ringo, and obviously George too. And George was a favourite of mine too. I thought he was the most sort of centred and focused and observed life very closely. I look forward to actually seeing that film myself, because there's a lot I don't know as well, because one must realise that when Dad separated from Mum, I was only about 5 years old, and so we went our separate ways. We had nothing to do with the Beatles and their lives, really. for many, 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 many years. You know, so I'd be interesting to see that one. But you know, Paul and I keep in touch, Christmas cards and birthday cards. You know, say how are you? Hope you're well. Good, great. And if we're in the same town, we'll say hello. You know,
your voice and your style has sort of echoes of your father. And
I would hope.
I don't know whether,
if I didn't, I'd be worried.
Well,
but
yeah. I mean, but I don't know whether you know, you say it took you a while for another album.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of you, and you've done a lot on environmental causes.
Sure.
You were talking about your foundation. You were talking about photography as well.
Yes.
Is there do you want to sort of fall into music and embrace it, or is there a bit of you that because of your legacy wants to stand back? What is your connection?
Well, it's always been a tough road because, you know, the main thing being the critics and a lot of, you know, John Lennon and Beatle fans who are quite hardcore, you know, generally don't often give me the time of day or don't even give me the chance. And tend not to listen, but just to you know, I wouldn't say abuse you, but some of them aren't very polite, you know, without actually listening to the work itself. Yeah, absolutely, which I find is a little unfair, to say the least. Though these days it's really more about the craft of songwriting to me. I don't care what anybody says anymore. I've done my time. I've been on, you know, worked the road for many, many years now, over 20 years, and certainly I'm not going to, you know, let that bother me too much anymore. It's all about getting on with the work these days.
So, given the gap between this album and the last one, are the creative juices flowing now?
They are, in fact, they are. I mean, even doing this promo tour and coming out, I was very nervous about it initially, but. You know, I'm happy with the album. I'm happy with the work that I'm doing, the photography, everything.
It's a nice album.
Is
really good.
Been good so far.
Thank you so much for coming to see us this morning.
My pleasure.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.